Most people don't know they're already losing money right now, while you're watching this. Not next year, not when you retire, today. The money is gone before you even earn it, and the system is designed so you never notice the gap. Let's say you're 24 years old. You have a decent job, 45 to 50 grand a year. You pay taxes, you contribute to your 401k, you feel responsible, ahead of the game. But you're not. You're leaving $1.2 million on the table, and the math isn't complicated, you simply weren't taught about it. The first thing you need to understand is what's happening inside your paycheck. When you earn 50 grand, the IRS doesn't take a flat 22%. It's more complex. Federal income tax, state tax, FICA, Medicare. You're looking at losing about 30%, and that's before state and local taxes take their share. 30% is 15 grand gone. You never see it, and most people accept this as an immutable law, like gravity. It's not. There's a lever to change it, but few pull it. If you like what you've seen so far, please like and subscribe and share this video so we can continue to grow this channel. The lever is called the Health Savings Account, or HSA. It's the most underutilized retirement tool in America because it doesn't feel like a retirement tool. It feels like healthcare. Your brain categorizes it wrong, and so you ignore it. But mathematically, the HSA is a 3 times favored tax shelter compared to a Roth IRA. Let me explain. A traditional Roth IRA lets you contribute post-tax money that then grows tax-free. That's one layer of tax advantage. The HSA does something different. You contribute pre-tax money that grows tax-free, and then, this is the part that breaks the system, you can withdraw it tax-free for qualified medical expenses. And here's where people stop listening because they think, well, I'll have medical expenses anyway, so what's the big deal? The big deal is that an HSA holds 2 more secrets beyond a 401k or Roth. Let me set the stage before I reveal them. Before age 65, taking out HSA money for non-medical reasons triggers ordinary income tax and a steep 20% penalty. But after you turn 65, that 20% penalty disappears. You can withdraw money for anything, groceries, rent, a vacation, and you pay income tax on it like a 401k. But here are the 2 secrets. First, after 65, your HSA withdrawals are tax-free for qualified medical expenses, which incredibly includes your Medicare Part B, Part D, and Medicare Advantage premiums. But you can't use HSA funds to pay for Medigap premiums. Next, and this is incredible too, you can reimburse yourself for past medical expenses. So dig up your old medical receipts from years ago, and as long as the HSA was open when the expense occurred, you can reimburse yourself tax-free for a medical bill you paid out of pocket 10 years ago. For the 2026, IRS limits state that an individual with self-only coverage can contribute up to $4,400 per year to an HSA, while those with family coverage can contribute up to $8,750. And if you are 55 or older, you can contribute an additional $1,000 per year. Some may say this is a low contribution level, but HSA tax advantages make the compounding effect nuclear. Here's the math. If you're 24 and you max out an HSA every single year for 41 years until retirement at 65, assuming an average 7% annual return, you're likely looking at approximately $650,000 accumulated in that account. But here's the trick. You never touch it for medical expenses. You just let it sit, untouched. Instead, you pay for medical expenses out of your regular income, and then much later, You use pre-tax HSA money to reimburse yourself. Most people don't know this because HSAs were designed for health, not wealth. The marketing doesn't say, "This is a stealth retirement account." It says, "For medical expenses," so your brain stops reading. You think you'll use it for doctor's visits. And maybe you will. But the people who become wealthy treat it as a tax shelter and use it incidentally for healthcare, if at all. Now, let's talk about the Roth IRA. Different rules. You can contribute $7,000 per year at age 24. Post-tax money. It grows tax-free. You can withdraw it tax-free in retirement. For most people, the Roth IRA is their primary wealth-building tool because the Roth is accessible and it's marketed toward young people. But the Roth doesn't have the three-part tax advantage, only two. And over 41 years, that difference compounds into a canyon. If you max a Roth at $7,000 per year for 41 years at a 7% return, you land at approximately $2.1 million. That's quite good. Most people don't do it, so kudos if you are. But here's where it gets dark. The person who does both the HSA and the Roth ends up with $2.75 million. The person who does neither and just lets their 401k grow ends up with $900,000, if they're lucky. Do you see the gap? $2.75 million versus $900,000. That's a difference of $1.85 million. But that's not the number I mentioned at the start. I said $1.2 million. Here's why. 95% of people in their 20s aren't actually going to max their Roth. They're going to contribute maybe $3,000 per year. Life happens. Money gets tight. Emergencies arise. So, let's be realistic. Let's say you contribute $3,500 per year to a Roth. That gets you to about $1.2 million by retirement. Now let's say you also open an HSA and you max it. $4,150 per year. That gets you another $600,000. Combined, $1.8 million. Versus someone who does neither and relies solely on their 401k auto deduction, which nets roughly $600,000 because they're not being aggressive and the 401k has that employer match, but also taxes on withdrawal. The difference between the person who knows and the person who doesn't know is $1.2 million. $1.2 million is the price of ignorance. That's the future house that doesn't get bought. That's the choice between retiring at 55 or working until 70. And the system is designed so that you never feel this loss. It's invisible and distributed across 41 years. You never see it as one lump sum. To open an HSA, you need to be enrolled in a high-deductible health plan, or HDHP. That means your deductible is higher, maybe $1,500 instead of $500. If you get sick, you pay more before insurance kicks in. The monthly premium might be lower, but psychologically, the HDHP feels dangerous. It feels like you're underinsured. Doctors and financial advisors, who profit from you being on traditional plans, will subtly discourage you. They'll ask, "Is the risk really worth it?" And most people say no. But the data doesn't support the fear. The average person in their 20s has maybe one significant medical expense every few years. The probability that your deductible scenario costs you more than the HSA tax advantage saves you is almost zero. The math wins, the psychology loses, and you picked the wrong plan. There's another trap. Even if you know about HSAs, most people don't treat it as an investment account. They treat it like a checking account. They just pay medical bills from it. They never let the money compound. It's like having a high-yield savings account and then withdrawing everything every month. The entire advantage collapses. The person who wins and ends up with $2.75 million instead of 600 grand does something that feels unnatural. They open the HSA. They do the max annual contribution in and then ignore it. They pay medical bills from their regular checking account. It hurts a little each time, which is good. The pain keeps them from overutilizing healthcare. And meanwhile, the HSA just sits there, compounding, growing. And by retirement, they have this enormous pool of pre-tax, post-tax-free money sitting in an account that the IRS barely monitors because it's not marketed as a wealth tool. The person who didn't know, who chose the low-deductible plan and trusted their employer's 401k match and felt satisfied they were doing the right thing, works until 70, maybe longer, and they never understand why. They did everything they were supposed to do. They were responsible. The market was bad. Bad luck. Bad timing. No, they just didn't pull the lever. Here's what's really dark about this and why you should feel some mixture of anger and relief right now. The system works for the people who know. It punishes the people who don't. The rules are public. The math is available, but the education is not distributed equally. You had to get this information somehow. A parent, a financial blogger, a podcast, a YouTube video.
If your parents weren't wealthy,
If they didn't know about HSAs, if they were just regular people doing regular things, you probably wouldn't have heard about this until it was too late. At 35. At 40. When you've already lost years of compounding. And when you finally realize it, when you finally open the HSA and start maxing it, you'll feel like you've unlocked something secret. But you haven't. You've just found the instruction manual that should have been given to you at 18. The system didn't hide it, it just didn't advertise it. So now, you're at an inflection point. You still have time. The person who starts the HSA Roth combo at 32 instead of 24 loses maybe 300 grand compared to someone who started at 24, but they still come out with about 1.5 million. Still a life-changing number, and better than the 600 grand from doing nothing. Check with your tax advisor before making a financial decision, but know that every year you wait, you lose 1 year of compounding. And compounding at the end, between year 40 and 41, is worth more than compounding at the beginning. Time is not linear in terms of wealth. The last year of growth in your portfolio can be worth more than the first 10 years combined. So, the question isn't whether you should do this. The question is whether you're going to pull the lever.